Hi, I'm Cameron. It's been a little bit since the last video. And by a little bit, I mean only a few days, but it feels like it's been a while, you know? It it feels like so much has happened in such a short period of time since the last time we spoke. And the reality of it is that not really that much has actually happened. I just played World of Warcraft for the past 4 days, and I'm kind of sick of it at this point. I mentioned in a previous video I was playing and then I kind of just felt like doing something else, which is weird. I've played World of Warcraft my entire life, and I think there's very few instances of me outright just getting sick of it. But I was getting kind of sick of it. And that's due in part that there's not really much to do right now, but that's fine too. I think it's good that it's not set up like a second job anymore. If anything, I find it infinitely more enjoyable being that way. I feel like I can just play it when I want to have fun instead of having to play it, and that's cool. So that's your unofficial Cameron World of Warcraft War Within review. 8 out of 10. It's good. I did upload a separate review for funsies, but that got disliked instantly, so I took it down because I felt bad. And I've been feeling bad again. I guess that's a good enough a segue as any, but I've been feeling kind of bad again. I guess for starters, the closet door is gone, because I went to go move it and it collapsed and it landed on my foot and cut my foot open. So that kind of sucked a little bit. So you just get like a preview of like the inside of my closet right now. It's Blueberry up there. He's a nice teddy bear. Yeah, I'm not gonna angle the camera down anymore because then you'd see all the laundry I haven't done in several weeks. But regardless of that, that made me feel kind of bad. And then also, it's just kind of, you just feel kind of, not even necessarily anything wrong going on or anything like that. It's just kind of this like overwhelming feeling of a lack of purpose, and I really dislike that. I really dislike that feeling. And right now, I wish I could be having more interaction with other people. I wish I could be having more of an impact on other people. And I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to reach out to people, get around more, go out more, and there have been some positives and, mostly negatives, as is how it typically seems to go for me for some reason. I reached out to a friend I hadn't spoken to in a little while, asked if we wanted to hang out. I know I had the impression they didn't really like me very much. But we're supposedly best friends or something like that. And we were hanging out, and I thought it was going well. And then it was like something kind of just like shifted at some point during that interaction. And they were just like berating me constantly, like the entire rest of the night. Like anytime I said something, they'd be like, "Oh, why are you such an idiot? You're just saying that to make me mad. You know what you're doing." And I genuinely don't know what he's talking about with that. Why would I go out of my way to make somebody that I want to hang out with upset about something? I'm not talking about like irony or sarcasm or teasing or something like that. Like I would say something as a joke, like a dad joke or something like that, and they would get angry enough to threaten to leave hanging out. Like I'm just gonna leave. Like if you're gonna be like that, I'm just gonna leave. And then why bother talking to that person? I was transparent about it. I was like, "What am I doing to you? What is going on? Why are you doing this? Why are you saying this? Why are you like this?" And like, "Well, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing." Maybe I just wanted to hang out. I don't know why it has to be such a big deal. Or I was trying to hang out with somebody else, and I was in the middle of explaining things, and they kept cutting me off to tell me to hurry up with what I was saying, and they started doing this. And I just told them I'm not going to hang out. And I just got up and I left. I just can't figure out what would compel somebody to do something like that to another person. I don't know. That makes me really sad. It makes me really sad. And I was trying to hang out with another friend, and we were talking about something. Um, I was telling them about a book that I had recently read, and I was just in the middle of explaining how I felt about it, and they cut me off and said that I talked like a TikTok Zoomer with my opinions. I've never been on TikTok. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what a Zoomer is. But like, I can't even express how I feel about things without somebody wanting to like jump in and then try and like already like shove their foot in the door that is my mouth, and like they want to be correct about something. Like they want to be snarky. They want to, I don't know, like they want to like put me down to make themselves feel better. And then, I mean, legitimately, like there are people who used to be in my life where I guarantee you if they watched this video, they would say something about how like you can't say things like that. Do you have any idea who could be watching this right now? Why would you say that? But it's like I'm never allowed to say how I feel. It's like I'm never allowed to talk. I don't. And then in like the other instances of this, it's like why would a person ask somebody else to hang out and then just insult them the entire time, or go like I don't get that. Why ask? Why? This is why I don't want to talk to people. This is why I struggle so much with putting myself out there. I had a text message from somebody a month ago, and they were just like, how's it going? And I responded in 2 minutes. They responded yesterday. Yesterday! Yesterday! It was a month ago! I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't see this. I know for a fact that there is literally no way they did not see it. They are on their phone 24/7. Oh, sorry, I didn't see this. And that's all I have to say after a month. A month. A month. That doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. So, I don't know, like, if there's something wrong with me, because I feel like every person I meet has some weird antagonism towards me that I just don't understand. And I've done a lot of self-reflection towards that. Seriously, I hate myself. I suck. You know, like, oh man, no one likes me. I can't keep a stable job. I live in a small, crappy apartment. It's kind of nice actually. I kind of like my apartment, but that just leads me to think that there's something wrong with me, you know. And then it's like maybe it'd be better if I wasn't here. Those are the types of thoughts that I have, where it's like if every major person in my life treats me like this and views me like that and uses me as like a punching bag, or they have like a little Cameron voodoo doll in their room that they're poking needles into over and over and over again, then they're like, what's my purpose? Like, what's the point in me being here at all? What do I achieve by existing? Because right now it feels like nothing. And then it makes it difficult for me to want to keep making these types of videos, since I think, well, no one's going to watch it, and then if they do, they're just going to make fun of me even more on top of that. So it kind of defeats the purpose in talking about it to begin with. I'm just stuck. You know, I'm just frustrated. And the other day, I was lying in bed, and I thought about all of these people who are in my life who just seem to only want to put me down for one reason or another. And I wanted to die. I wanted to die. But that pain never really goes away. Even if we work harder, it never fully goes away. I don't think that I'll ever fully stop wanting that on some level. But the reality is that I don't want that. I don't want to die. I just don't want to be here. I don't want the life that I have right now. I don't want these crappy friends who just constantly cut me off or do this or tell me that like I my opinions suck for no apparent reason aside from just putting me down. And I don't know what I need to do to get there. I don't know where I need to go to be away from all of this. But I know that I don't want to be here. Here, right now. The way that I feel right now in this moment is not the way that I want to feel for the rest of my life. I don't want to live in this state. I don't want to be surrounded by these people who make me feel this way. And getting away from all of that is something that I don't understand how to do. Now, to be positive for a second, since, talking about how negative you feel all of the time isn't necessarily great. As an aside, it feels so good to not get cut off and told that this is just in my head. It feels so good to just be able to say how I feel and not have somebody go, Cameron, you really should talk to a therapist. I went to college for psychology. I worked in a mental hospital. I used to work for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I'm gonna list that like it's a gold plaque of nothing that I hang on my wall of lies every opportunity that I get. Talking to somebody who doesn't care is not going to help me. Now, I'm not saying that all therapists who have ever existed before don't care. I'm saying that that industry, in how it functions, is designed to treat your mental health like it is an afterthought. As someone who's been in that position where I've been in charge of other people, you need to disassociate emotionally to get through to the end of the day. If you come into work and someone died while you were off, you need to disassociate to be able to get through to the end of the day. That's just the reality of it. And then, if talking to a therapist actually helped you and me, if that actually helped you, they would be out of a job. The one therapist I ever had who I actually liked talking to, he said to me, my job is to work myself out of a job. And the last session I ever had with him, I told him I hope I never saw him ever again, and he said, I do too, and we hugged. Nice guy. Hope he's doing all right. You know what else he told me? Cameron, I can't help you because you're already doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. There's nothing that I can give you that you can't already figure out on yourself, but like by yourself. And it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. We're not doing this then. It's cool. It's cool. Now I'm like crossing my legs in that really unhealthy way where like it kind of like ruins your nerve endings or something like that because it's more comfortable to talk that way. But to be positive for a second here. I went to an event that I heard about was going on in the nearby town. I had a ride for it, so I thought I would try. This event had some friends that I used to know from college there, and I was hesitant because I was always told that these people didn't like me. They thought I was super annoying. I was getting on everybody's nerves just by being there. So I kind of disassociated from that. But for some reason, I heard it was going on. I decided to show up. I kind of awkwardly creep into the back of the room, and the person in charge of the event sees me and is like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no, Cameron, what are you doing here? And someone else is like, oh, Cameron's here? And then like people were coming over and saying hi to me and talking about how good it was to see me again and talking about how like, oh, you gotta come by again sometime and reminiscing on college and stuff like that. And what was so weird about that to me is that two of the people who were there, who I recognized explicitly, were really nice to me. And I was always told by like someone else, like, oh, those guys hate you, dude. Like they talk about how much of a jerk you are, like, all the time. But they were really, really nice to me. And then I realized it's like, oh, I might have not actually been bothering anybody. It might have just been that person telling me that to make me feel bad for some reason. But why? But why? 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 I don't understand that. I don't gain anything out of being a jerk to somebody else. And I'm just tired of having only jerks in my life. It's free to be nice to people. I think you need to make a conscious effort to start doing this while somebody's talking and telling them that they don't care about what you're saying when they asked in the first place. What's the point of starting a conversation if you don't want to listen to it? I don't get that. So I had some positivity, and I was really glad about that. But and I went for a walk yesterday, and that was really nice. I sweat a lot during that. I cooked some chicken. I got some onions and some carrots with that too. I pretty much just only eat chicken and rice, honestly. Just chicken and rice. You mix in like some vegetables. I have grapes sometimes and cereal. That's pretty much the only thing that I eat, legitimately. And let me tell you, eating better helps so much too. I'm the type of guy where I would get like an extra large pizza from Domino's like every other day. I mean, I did that last week. If I'm being entirely honest, it's like some friends wanted to get pizza, and that's like a can of worms for me. You know, it's like Pandora's box. It's like I have one, and then like all of a sudden there's like 5 pizza boxes like stacked up in the kitchen. It's horrible. I need to stop doing it. But eating better and getting used to the feeling of not being full, but just being content is really great too. Um, Aside from that, I did some reading. I finished reading The Climber. I think that's what it's called. It's called like Kito no Hito or something. I don't know. My Japanese is really bad, which is a bad thing since I'm going to Japan in about 2 weeks. But either way, it was okay. Um, the art was really good. Um, I didn't think it was a very interesting story. All things considered, it was kind of just a guy climbing and going, "Man, I'm so lonely." And then he'd climb more, and then he'd meet somebody, and he's like, "Maybe I won't be lonely." And then that person would be really mean to him, and he'd be like, "It's better to be alone." And that person would die, and then he'd be lonely, but he'd climb, and then like that happened like 3 more times throughout the story. Um, it definitely started off a lot more interesting than it ended up being. It was kind of just a guy climbing. That's fine. It's called The Climber. You know, it's like if you watched a movie called The Chef and it was about like underground cockfights or something, it'd be kind of lame. You know, it's exactly what it is on the tin. Um, the paneling also wasn't that good. I thought the paneling was boring. Like half of a chapter just being really hard to read mountain shots because they take place at night. And then it's like the quality of the scans weren't the best either. So that just makes it like this pixelated mess where I'm like, wow, I bet this would look really nice if it was actually like officially released in America or something. And it is. It's getting an official release next year. Someone told me recently. So that's cool. That's cool. I'm not gonna buy it, obviously. It was just okay. Um, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to read next at this point. Um, I think I might read a book instead of a manga. My head is starting to hurt from reading all of these picture books with the facial expressions and the really good shading and the nice contrast of light and shadow. Yeah, I think I need to read a book again. Um, I played Cave Story again. I like that game. It's okay. Man, it was okay. Everything's just okay, I guess. But I think that's about everything I have to share at this point in time. More or less, it's just if my thesis statement, if you will, my concluding, like you underline this, and then you get points docked because you're not supposed to underline things in a paper, would be I don't want to be here, but I don't know how to go anywhere else. So, I mean, legitimately, I'm always up to conversation. If someone watching this knows how to go somewhere else, feel free to leave a comment or something like that. Um, Regardless, I hope you enjoyed watching or listening. I'm not sure how many people like actually sit down and watch a guy stare at a camera for like 21 minutes, but there's gotta be someone out there who's doing it, right? But thank you for listening, watching, viewing. Maybe you're deaf and you use like Morse code or something to like vibrate out the tone of my voice or something like that. Um, but I'm going to Japan, and I'm hoping that Japan helps me figure a few things out. And if it doesn't, I mean, life goes on. There's always a chance things could just get better. Maybe. Maybe. Either way, this was nice. I hope we can talk again sometime soon. Thank you. And goodbye.